The Bible in a Year, Day 119, 2 Samuel 11 and 12. At the turn of the year, the time when kings go to war, David sent out Joab along his officers and all Israel. They laid waste to the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah. David himself remained in Jerusalem. One evening, David rose from his bed and strolled about on the roof on the king's house. From the roof, he saw a woman bathing. She was very beautiful. David sent people to inquire about the woman and was told, "She is Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam and wife of Uriah the Hittite, Joab's armor-bearer." Then David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him. He took her to bed at a time when she was just purified after her period, and she returned to her house. But the woman had become pregnant. She sent a message to inform David, "I am pregnant." So David sent a message to Joab, "Send me Uriah the Hittite." Joab sent Uriah to David, and when he came, David asked him how Joab was, how the army was, and how the war was going. And Uriah answered that all was well. David then said to Uriah, "Go down to your house and bathe your feet." Uriah left the king's house, and a portion from the king's table was sent after him. But Uriah slept at the entrance of the king's house with the officers of his lord, and did not go down to his own house. David was told, "Uriah has not gone down to his house." So he said to Uriah, "Have you not come from a journey? Why then did you not go to your own house?" Uriah answered David, "The ark of and Israel and Judah are staying in tents, and my lord Joab and my lord's servants are encamped in the open fields. Can I go home and eat and drink and sleep with my wife? As the Lord lives, and as you live, I will do no such thing." Then David said to Uriah, "Stay here today also, and tomorrow I will send you back." So Uriah stayed in Jerusalem that day. On the following day, David summoned him, and he ate and drank with David, who got him drunk. But in the evening he went out to sleep on his bed among his lord's servants, and did not go down to his house. The next morning David wrote a letter to Joab, which he sent by Uriah. This is what he wrote in the letter: "Place Uriah up front where the fighting is fierce, then pull back and leave him to be struck down dead." So while Joab was besieging the city, he assigned Uriah to a place where he knew the defenders were strong. When the men of the city made a sortie against Joab, some officers of David's army fell, and Uriah the Hittite also died. Then Joab sent David a report of all the details of the battle, instructing the messenger, "When you have finished giving the king all the details of the battle, the king may become angry and say to you, 'Why did you go near the city to fight? Did you not know that they would shoot from the wall above? Who killed Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal? Was it not a woman who threw a millstone down on him from the wall above, so that he died in Thebez? Why did you go near the wall? Then you in turn are to say, 'Your servant Uriah the Hittite is also dead.'" The messenger set out, and on his arrival he reported to David everything Joab had sent to tell. He told David, "The men had the advantage over us and came out into the open against us, but we pushed them back to the entrance of the city gate. Then the archers shot at your servants from the wall above, and from the king's and some of the king's servants died. And your servant Uriah the Hittite is also dead." David said to the messenger, "This is what you shall say to Joab: Do not let this be a great evil in your sight, for the sword devours now here and now there. Strengthen your attack on the city and destroy it. Encourage him." When the wife of Uriah heard that her husband had died, she mourned her lord. But once the mourning was over, David sent for her and brought her into his house, and she became his wife and bore him a son. But in the sight of the Lord, what David had done was evil. The Lord sent Nathan to David, and when he came to David, he said, "Tell me how you judge this case. In a certain town there were two men, one rich, the other poor. The rich man had flocks and herds in great numbers, but the poor man had nothing at all except one little ewe lamb that he had bought. He nourished her, and she grew up with him and his children. Of what little he had she ate. From his own cup she drank, and in his bosom she slept. She was like a daughter to him. Now a visitor came to the rich man, but he spared his own flocks and herds to prepare a meal for the traveler who had come to him. He took the poor man's ewe lamb and prepared it for the one who had come to him. David grew very angry with that man and said to Nathan, "As the Lord lives, that man who has done this deserves death. He shall make fourfold restitution for the lamb, because he has done this and was unsparing." Then Nathan said to David, "You are that man. Thus says the Lord, God of Israel, I anointed you king over Israel. I delivered you from the hand of Saul. I gave you your Lord's house and your Lord's wives for your own. I gave you the house of Israel and of Judah. And if this were not enough, I could count up for you still more. Why have you despised the Lord and done what is evil in his sight? You have cut down Uriah the Hittite with the sword. His wife you took as your own, and him you killed with the sword of the Ammonites. Now therefore the sword shall never depart your house, because you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Thus says the Lord, I will bring evil upon you out of your own house. I will take your wives before your eyes and will give them to your neighbor. He shall lie with your wives in broad daylight. You have acted in secret, but I will do this in the presence of all Israel, in the presence of the sun itself." Then David said to Nathan, "I have sinned against the Lord." Nathan answered David, "For his part, the Lord has removed your sin. You shall not die. But since you have utterly spurned the Lord by his deed, the child born to you will surely die." Then Nathan returned to his house. The Lord struck the child that the wife of Uriah had borne to David, and it became desperately ill. David pleaded with God on behalf of the child. He kept a total fast and spent the night lying on the ground, clothed in sackcloth. The elders of his house stood beside him to get him to rise from the ground, but he would not, nor would he take food with them. On the seventh day the child died. David's servants were afraid to tell him that the child was dead, for they said, "When the child was alive, we spoke to him, but he would not listen to what we said. How can we tell him that the child is dead? He may do some harm." But David noticed his servants whispering among themselves and realized that the child was dead. He asked his servants, "Is the child dead?" They said, "Yes." Rising from the ground, David washed and anointed himself and changed his clothes. Then he went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. He returned to his own house and asked for food. They set it before him, and he ate. His servants said to him, "What is this you are doing? While the child was living, you fasted and wept and kept vigil. Now the child is dead. You rise and take food." He replied, "While the child was living, I fasted and wept, thinking, 'Who knows? The Lord may grant me the child's life.' But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I should go to him, but he will not return to me." Then David consoled Bathsheba, his wife, he went and slept with her, and she conceived and bore him a son, who was named Solomon. The Lord loved him and sent the prophet Nathan to name him Jedediah on behalf of the Lord. Joab fought against Rabbah of the Ammonites and captured that royal city. He sent messengers to David to say, I have fought against Rabbah and have taken the water city. Therefore, assemble the rest of the soldiers, join the siege against the city, and capture it, lest I be the one to capture the city, and mine be the name people mention, not yours. So David assembled the rest of the soldiers, went to Rabbah, fought against it, and captured it. He took the crown of Milcom from the idol's head, a talent of gold in weight, with precious stones. This crown David wore on his own head. He also brought out a great amount of spoil from the city. He deported the people of the city and set them to work with saws, iron picks, iron axes, and put them to work at the brick mold. He dealt thus with all the cities of the Ammonites. Then David and his whole army returned to Jerusalem.